In this next video, we're going to go over the individual exercise in Chapter 6, creating a corridor for Route 63. And the first thing we need to do is we need to continue working in the corridors file that I have open already. And I'm going to go into my Civil Tools next and open the Create Template tool. Go to Task, Civil Tools, Create Template. And in there I have a Road1 folder already set up. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a Route 63 folder, and I'm going to copy a template into that folder. Again, the way we teach this is we don't really want the users to edit or modify any components or templates or end conditions in the MoDOT section of the library, but if you create a subfolder with your job number under it, you can do anything you want under that folder. And basically we recommend you just copying stuff from the MoDOT library into that job folder. And so I'm going to go ahead and right click and I'm going to create a new folder for Route 63. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to then copy my template for Route 63 into that folder. And so we're down on step number 5 now. We're going to go into the templates folder. We're going to go into concrete pavement with shoulders. We're going to go down to A3 shoulder with ag base. And we're going to select the concrete pavement 4-lane divided with ag base option 3. And so we're going to select that one right there. We're going to copy it on up, and we're going to place it in our Route 63 folder. So we're going to go ahead and use that for our corridor that we're going to create here in a second for Route 63. And so all we need to do now is just close out of the template library. When it asks you to save the library, go ahead and say yes to that. And one thing I forgot to mention, when you go into that template library, make sure you're in your project ITL, not the MoDOT one, because if you open this Create Template tool up and you haven't been in the template library while you're in that version or session of Microstation, it will open up the MoDOT ITL, and you don't have a typical MoDOT user does not have write access to that MoDOT ITL, and so it's important for you to open up your ITL for your project and then copy or paste whatever into the project folder that you've created. And then if you need to, you can edit this template, edit any template underneath there. And then all you need to do at the end, again, is close and say yes to save those changes. Okay, so now that we got our template set up, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the corridor modeling tools, and we're going to select the Create Template icon. And so that one is at the top left corner, Create Corridor icon. And when you do that, on your cursor it'll say locate the baseline. And so I'm going to locate the Route 63 baseline, and that Route 63 alignment has an active profile, and if you hover over it, and depending on where you're at, it'll actually show you that information. Now since I'm in the tool trying to select that, it may not, but if you hit F4 and hover over the alignment, it should tell you that you do have an active profile. In this case, it's the Route 63 PR. So I'm going to go back and select the Create Corridor. I'm going to select the Route 63 baseline. I'm going to reset or right click for the active profile, and it's going to ask for a corridor name, so I'm just going to go ahead and call it Route 63, and I'm going to accept that. And now it's asking for the template, and what the template I'm going to use is that one I just copied into that Route 63 folder in my ITL. So I'm going to go ahead and you can click on the triple dots over here, or you can hit the Alt down arrow. And so I'm going to go over to get out of my Road1 here, go into Route 63. That's the template that I want to use, and I'm going to select OK to that. Now once I select OK to it, it just puts it into my heads-up display here, so I'm going to need to left click to accept that template. And now it's going to ask me for the limits of where I want to place that along my corridor. I'm going to place it for the entire limits of the corridor. So I could either drag my mouse up here and beyond the beginning point and left click to accept that, or you can hit Alt to lock to the start, accept that. Alt to lock to the end, and accept that. The drop interval that we're going to use on this is on step 21 there. We're going to use a 5-foot drop interval. That means it's going to a template will be dropped based on our corridor template drop settings, and then multiplied, or actually this drop interval setting of 5 times our multiplier that we have for our design stage. And so we're just going to go with a default of 5. Our minimum transition before, we have no transitions before or after, so we're going to set that to 0. And our description, again, if you want to put a description in there you can, but I'm going to leave it blank. And as soon as you accept that, it's going to place that corridor out, or that template out there along the corridor, and you can see your model in your 3D view. If you don't have your 3D view, say it's closed and all you have is your 2D view like this, all you need to do is hit the F6 key and it'll create that 3D view for you. Okay. All right. Next thing it wants us to do in this exercise is we're going to rotate our view around over here. Again, the trick to rotating a view is you need to be in this view, so you need to click in that window, make sure that the banner is active, and then go to your view controls here. And the option that I like to use to rotate stuff with is this dynamic. And all you get, the trick is taking that crosshair and then accu-snapping to some location. And wherever you accu-snap, say I go right to that center line of that roadway, I can now rotate about that center line of roadway. Okay. So again, that's the trick. Again, grab that crosshair and you can drag it anywhere you want, and then just accu-snap to some element in the 3D model. Okay. Sometimes this gets whacked out and you don't know what you're looking at. Best thing to do in that scenario is just go to a top view, and then you can go back to your dynamic setting. Oh, where's the crosshair? I lost the crosshair. So let's go back to that dynamic setting. There it is right there. Again, the trick again is accu-snapping to something, and once it's accu-snapped, it'll rotate around that crosshair. Okay. Alright. Next thing we need to do in this exercise is it wants us to open up a cross-section view. And so let's go ahead and do that. Again, to open up the cross-section view, you could go to the task tools, go to corridor, and then come down to this icon right here, open cross-section view. But it's almost easier just to go straight to the corridor itself. Select the corridor grip, go to the second icon over, and select open cross-section model. When you do that, it's asking for you to open up a view. I'm going to open up view 8, and you'll see that I still have Road 1 in that view 8. But remember, you always have to, once you open up the view, you have to select the view as well, and when you do that, it'll recreate that cross-section view. And so we're going to go ahead and place some temporary dimension lines in here just to show you how that works again. We're going to right-click, we're going to place temporary dimension lines. We'll put one there, one there, one there, one there. It's very quick and easy. Put one there and there, there and there. And just, there you go. And so those temporary dimension lines will stay out there until you, as long as they're navigating through there. And it's still wanting to place some more labels. I'm going to hit F4 to that, and I'm just going to keep on navigating on through. So that's the temporary dimension lines. Again, this section is at this location in the plan view. That's what this highlighted blue line is it's indicating. You can also, in your cross-section view, right-click and place locate via station data point. When you do that, you just come over to your whichever view you want. You left-click in there, and then you have the option to key in a station or just do it dynamically. And wherever you click, that cross-section view will be there. Okay. Again, another new feature in people that have Power GEOPAK version 8.7.2 or newer. Again, this one, let's go look. We have version 8.7.2. If you have that version or newer, once in a while this cross-section view gets stuck and won't update, and if that happens, you can just come in here and do a delete dynamic cross-section view, That basically just resets the cross-section view, and then what you can do is come in and just create that cross-section view one more time. Kind of like so. One other thing I want to show you is if you, by chance, accidentally, say we're in view number 1 here, and you go in to that corridor group and you select open cross-section view and you forget to open up another view and you just accidentally click in the view number 1, the default view, you will get your cross-section views in here. And the way you get back to the default view is you can, two different ways you could do it. You can do it through the view view attributes. So just go up to this little icon right here, click on it, view attributes, and then if you come down to the view setup, all you need to do is select default. Alright. Okay, let's go back to that previous view. I'm going to go again, accidentally pick the wrong window. You can see I got a cross-section view here. Almost an easier way, instead of going to the view property or to the view attributes, you can just come up to your model here and just double click on default, and that'll bring it back. Okay, let's see what else we got to do in this exercise. That looks like that's all there is, and so we're going to move on to the next exercise in chapter 7.